On this edition of Newswatch 18, Greenlee School of Journalism students marched and feasted to express their First Amendment rights.
And we have a preview of next week's VEISHEA coverage.
The athletic department is in hot water with the NCAA. I'll have all that and more in sports.
And I'll have your VEISHEA forecast coming up after the break. You're watching Newswatch 18.
Newswatch 18 starts now.
Good evening and welcome to this Thursday, April 11th edition of Newswatch 18. I'm Elizabeth Kramer.
And I'm Chris Kelly. Thanks for tuning in. It's been cool and damp for the past few days. Do we have any relief in sight?
Well, not for tonight at least. If we look straight at radar, we see some light showers out there across Ames. And that's going to continue overnight tonight as we see some of these light showers start actually going into some light snow showers once those temperatures go below freezing. Not really going to be a main impact tonight, just more of a nuisance out there. And local current temps are already falling. It's 37 degrees here in Ames, 37 across much of central Iowa. And looking at the day tomorrow, it's going to be another dreary, cloudy, cold day out there. Not getting possibly to 40 degrees tomorrow. So I'll have more on your VEISHEA forecast, though, later in the show. Back to you guys.
Today marks First Amendment Day across the nation, as well as here in Ames. Iowa State students, faculty, and others took part in the celebration on and off campus. Today's events began at 9 a.m. with a Freedom March on the steps of Ames City Hall. Participants marched to the steps of Iowa State's office of the president to help cure Hazelwood, a court decision that threatens students' rights to free speech. Today is the 11th year Iowa State has held events to celebrate the freedoms guaranteed by the First Amendment. Events began Monday and included a caucus cup debate, poetry slam, art panel, and a lecture on social media and the First Amendment.
ISU students gathered outside even in the rain and cold this afternoon as a part of the First Amendment Day lunch.
Used to make me smile. Without the First Amendment, people can't be participants in their government. They can't have an informed role in their community. They really can't share their opinions, which are so important for all of us to hear. You know, young people have a lot to say, and it's eye-opening for all of us to hear that. And but without the confidence that they can do that with the protection of the First Amendment, so that they're not punished by their government, then they'll censor themselves.
First Amendment rights are important because they are the foundation of our democracy. If you think about it, would you accept if someone came up and said, oh no, you won't be able to say that, or no, you're going to have to practice this religion? I think it's so ingrained in our society, we just wouldn't put up with that. But the problem is, students especially, but the general public, knows about it, but doesn't really know what freedoms are protected. So every year we bring in high schoolers because high school student journalism programs are actually much more censored than adult publications. We had a high school essay contest. We had 3 winners. First place was Saquon Gatlin from Davenport Central.
I feel like people, even if I disagree with them, they have the right to have an opinion, and they have the right to believe in whatever they should believe in.
The 31st Iowa State University Fashion Show will take place this Saturday at Stevens Auditorium. ISU students produced the entire show, which will feature guest designer Brent Hannapel with Jay Brand. The judges this year include a former model and 3 ISU alumni. About 100 pre-selected garments will be displayed. This year's show is produced by Kayla Elfrey and Brittany Guzik and starts at 7 p.m. Tickets are available on Ticketmaster or at CY Stevens Auditorium.
A shooting at the Mortensen apartment complex last Sunday is still under investigation. The police released a preliminary statement saying that 2 men were involved in a struggle when 1 shot was fired. Police officers arrived on the scene in response to a 911 call about a heard gunshot. The gunshot resulted in damage to a cabinet in a parallel apartment. Names have been withheld pending further investigation.
A horror and fantasy illustrator will speak on campus about storytelling. Jeremy Caniglia has had the opportunity to illustrate covers of famous writers such as Stephen King and Ray Bradbury. Caniglia will speak about his work as well as the power of graphic storytelling throughout the ages. Graphic storytellers illustrating horror and fantasy books will be held at the College of Design's Kaczynski Auditorium at 7 p.m. on Thursday, April 18th.
The research and creativity of Iowa State undergrads will be on display next Tuesday. The 7th Annual Symposium on Undergraduate Research and Creative Expression will serve as a place where students can share their research and creative ideas with the university community. More than 100 students from various academia will present their research topics. Interim Vice President for Research and Economic Development, David Oliver, will open the event. Registration begins at 8:30 a.m. and the event will last from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. The symposium will be held in the Memorial Union and is free and open to the public. And now we have Dani at the desk. Dani, what is going on with sports lately? There's been some violations in the news.
That is true. I'll have more about that and about our upcoming softball games this weekend. So stay tuned. You're watching Newswatch 18. Welcome back to Newswatch Sports. I'm Dani Rondeau. The athletic department submitted a report to the NCAA about recruiting violations, and a football player has been suspended. I'll have more. Earlier this month, the Iowa State Athletics Department submitted a report from an internal investigation about the recruiting violations from 2008 to 2011 to the NCAA. The Ames Tribune Sports Desk initially obtained this report through a Freedom of Information Act Wednesday afternoon. The vast majority of the 1,405 impermissible calls took place with the football and men's basketball staff in the 4-year span of the investigation. 186 of those combined were true violations. 54 of those were from former staffers. The majority of the calls were listed as logging issues. The investigation started in April 2011 when Fred Hoiberg witnessed undergraduate assistant Keith Moore present at a non-scholastic basketball game. The athletic department has not commented publicly about the matter since last week's press release. Iowa State defensive end Willie Scott has been suspended indefinitely from the football team after an arrest last week. As per an Ames Tribune report, Scott was pulled over at 9 p.m. on April 3rd by Iowa State police for driving without headlights on. He was then arrested and cited for alleged marijuana possession. Scott started all 13 games for Iowa State last season and recorded 37 tackles. Jake Knott, Chelsea Poppins, Kyvan Gadsden, pretty common names around the Iowa State campus. All of these student athletes battled injuries last season, yet still have huge success in their respective sports. How were they able to return? Well, they didn't do it alone. ISU TV's Mitch Gerber has the answer.
The success of the Iowa State athletic programs has been a fun thing to watch the past few years. However, this success would not be present without the Iowa State athletic training program.
An integral part of what we do to help our players, and as they learn more in the academic program, they gain a little bit more responsibilities under our guidance.
It's awesome being able to work with them and work through an injury, but that first day that they're able to step on the field and be without restriction and just play their heart out is one of the most amazing things you can see as an athletic trainer.
First-year athletic trainer Jordan Pierce says he got interested in athletic training early on.
I started in athletic training when I was in high school. Kind of got interested in athletic training. I got injured as a high school football player. Then working with my athletic trainer in high school, rehabbing, and through that process I observed kind of how she did things and how athletic trainers helped athletes.
Working with Division I athletes comes with long days and several hours put in the training room, but in the end, there are many memorable stories to be told in a well-respected program.
Last year, me and another student worked with a wrestler, and he had gone through, this was his second shoulder surgery in a year. So he was having some problems with it, and it was a much harder rehab the second time, because I had to go in and change a couple things. But he came back this year and ended up being an All-American. And
our program has a long tradition of people working at the highest levels in our profession, and so it's just really rewarding to see some of these people leave. And you turn on the TV any weekend, you're going to see half a dozen of our people working in the NFL, and 2 of the head athletic trainers in the NBA are from here. And that's the fun part.
Mitch Gerber, ISU TV.
The Iowa State Athletic Training Program is now an official major at Iowa State and currently has 45 undergraduates enrolled. The program accepts anywhere from 15 to 20 applicants a year and is one of the top athletic training programs in the country. The Iowa State softball team is hitting the road this weekend for a matchup against 6th-ranked Texas. The Cyclone Sluggers are currently riding a 4-game winning streak that extends back to last weekend when they swept Oklahoma State at home. This week, ISU has 6 players hitting better than 300. A recent standout for the Cyclones, Sarah Hallrick, leads the team in last in the last 4 games with 7 steals. Iowa State remains 1 game under 500 after Wednesday's contest against Drake was postponed due to weather. The Cyclones will return home on Wednesday to take on UMKC with first pitch at 2 p.m. at the Cyclone Sports Complex. The 28th ranked women's golf team found their sweet spot Wednesday after finishing second at the 20-team Marsh Landing Invitational in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida. The Cyclones sold a 3-round tally of 865 strokes, tying the second lowest 54-hole score in Iowa State history. The Clones bet 2 top 20 teams in Texas Tech and Purdue. Senior Pampaka Puntamambamrong led the Cyclones, tying for 3rd place, recording the lowest 3-round score of her career. Her 213 tally was her 3rd top 10 finish of the season. The Cyclones will be back in action on April 19th at the Big 12 Classic. And that's all I have for your sports. So, Nathan, please tell me what's going on with the weather.
We saw a cold day today, and tomorrow looks kind of the same, but I'll have your VEISHEA forecast after the break. Stay tuned, you're watching Newswatch 18. Welcome back to Newswatch. We saw a really cloudy and dreary day today. We didn't all like the rain, but the ground sure did. Currently right now, for the high temperature today, 44 degrees, 35 for the low, so we're well below average for this time of year. And so that's kind of been the headline over the past couple months now. 37 currently right now in Ames. We've been seeing off and on sprinkles out there, and that'll continue tonight. Dew Point at 34 degrees, not too bad out there, kind of just on the chilly side. So current temps right now across the state, 37 degrees in Ames, 37 in Des Moines, 36 degrees out in Ottumwa. So really just cold across the state. Current winds aren't making it feel much better. 12 miles per hour from the southwest in Des Moines, and these are going to start switching out to the northwest. Already has in Sioux City, so we're going to be seeing some cold winds over the next day or two once those winds switch out to the northwest. Tonight's lows get to about freezing, so some of that precipitation is going to start to fall as snow as we head into tonight. And tomorrow's highs not much better, maybe hitting 40 across central Iowa, maybe not even hitting 40. So about 15 to 20 degrees below average. And clouds and radar showing, look at these temperatures, 71 in Atlanta, while it's 43 in St. Louis. And you can see where this front is. There's a cold front, and along that front, we're seeing a lot of thunderstorms. And because of that, we see some warnings out there. A tornado watch out for places in Mississippi and Alabama. They've been seeing some tornadoes. Up in our direction, really not any severe weather, just some cold, soaking rains we've been seeing over the past couple days. And this cold front representing all these thunderstorms pushing eastward. That's kind of what we saw over the past couple days. And although we're not going to see much rain over the weekend, we're going to see some sunshine out there over the weekend, but really not going to last too long as we have another active pattern coming next week. Still seeing some light showers out there. Those will kind of continue. Not going to be a major impact for tonight, just going to be a nuisance out there. And Futurecast showing some those going to be out of the area by tomorrow. We're just going to be socked in with clouds. And that's going to be moving through the area, kind of sticking on Friday into Saturday. Saturday, we see some sunshine. Going to be an okay day Saturday, bit on the chilly side, but at least we see some sun out there. And then by Sunday, we're going to see maybe even another chance for some rain. So tonight, 31 degrees, chilly, light mix of rain and snow. And then tomorrow, 40 degrees, cloudy and blustery, way below average. And then for your 7-day, cold and rainy, even for VEISHEA week. Thanks. Back to you guys.
Fans of country music and comedy will be getting a visit from a man with a very tough schedule. Country music artist Granger Smith, who is better known as the internet and YouTube sensation Earl Dibbles Jr., will be performing at Charlie Yokes on Welch and Lincoln Way on Monday, April 23rd as a part of his Dirt Road Driveway Tour. Smith burst onto the scene in 2011 with his portrayal of Dibbles Jr., the YouTube video from Earl Dibbles Jr., Country Boy, tallying over 2 million views since, as well as spawning numerous internet memes. Showtime is yet to be determined, but more information for the event can be found on Granger Smith's website.
ISU TV's David Geiger and Jay Davis have been working hard over the past month, putting together one of the biggest projects we've done at ISU TV. On our YouTube page, you can find a History of VEISHEA documentary with interviews with this year's co-chairs and the deans of the colleges. Find this and all of our VEISHEA 2013 coverage at our website, isutv.stu.org.iastate.edu. Just click on the VEISHEA 2013 tab at the top of the page. Check back all of next week on our social media pages for the latest on-campus VEISHEA news.
And that's all we've got for tonight's edition of Newswatch 18.
Tune in on Tuesday for more Cyclone news, weather, and sports.
Have a great weekend, Ames, and have a great VEISHEA.